people have an agenda. And their agenda, one of the things, is to get rid of the church. To get rid of the church, to have abortion on demand, to the promotion of all things LBGTQ. You know, Kamala Harris, she's running for the vice presidency. I call her Miss Lock Up Her Brother. For when she was the AG in California, a Negro knew, a black man knew that he was dead in the water. He was dead in the water. Matter of fact, you don't need a trial. You might as well go into jail if you appear before her, because she took pride in locking up black folk. And now all of a sudden she's trying to be sister girl. I'm telling it. Check out her record. She locked us up left and right. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, you did, Kamala, however I should pronounce it, you did. And now we're supposed to forget all that stuff. And she boasted in California that she was one of the first. I got the tape queued, but my time's up today. One of the first, I showed you Thursday night, to perform a same-sex marriage. Y'all want to see it? You want to?
This video has gone viral, ladies and gentlemen, ever since it was announced that Joe Biden was stepping down and nominating, basically anointing, Vice President Kamala Harris as his successor for President of the United States. And as such, she's been gearing up campaigns, raising money, but this video has gone viral because in 2020, Kamala Harris ran for president and she finished 5th actually in the voting. So now that she has finished 5th, but now she's obviously the heir apparent because the Democrats have not found anyone. They have basically appointed Kamala Harris to be this. And this video that was made by Bishop Wooten, and I believe Bishop Wooten is based, I want to say, out in, it's not out in California. I believe he's based out in, Patrick Wooten is his name. But in this video, fair use by the way, he goes in on Kamala Harris. So he's based out in North Carolina. So this is what he had to say. And I'm going to finish playing the video about Miss Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris. Before she was Vice President, she was the AG of California. And then a Senate, before that, or a little bit after that, she was a senator. So before Vice President, she was a senator. Then before that, AG, and before that, District Attorney of San Francisco. Listen.
See it. Let it rip.
Let the rings exchanged and the vows declared symbolize your commitment, sincerity, and affection.
Yeah.
And may your love never falter. By virtue of the power and authority vested in me by the state of California, I now declare you spouses for life.
Cut. Now that is who's supposed to deliver us. Now, are you crazy? I like what Maya Angelou says. She said, when the people show you who they are, believe them. That's Kamala. And let me tell you, anybody who's trying to turn America into Sodom and Gomorrah is not good for this nation. She's not good for the state, and she ain't good for black folk.
Bishop, by the way, has stated that he's actually come under attack, and I'm going to play another video about that later on, but we have two topics for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Are black men obligated to defend Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States? And Charles is taking his case up to the Supreme Court. You don't want to miss it. We're about to get started. Let it rip. whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Yo, what's going on? We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in this thing we call social media. Good evening, one who cares. Shout out to all of our family. We're going to go ahead and get started. This broadcast, I'm going to try and keep it not too long because I have some other stuff I got to tend to, but this is something I want to talk about since the other night. Welcome. I didn't do the show Sunday because I was just exhausted from my show Sunday night. I didn't get in until about 2:00 in the morning from my comedy show, guys. Yes, we are live, and I didn't post anything about it. I gotta actually put up my pictures. Shout out to you computer robots who's watching via Rumble. Everybody right now needs to, and I'm going to make sure you follow me on Rumble so that we can all go and support, because I have 2 channels there. 2 of them, actually. One is the gboot2786 channel, and I have Random Topics, which is my channel here. So I'm going to share the screen with y'all right quick. Hold on. Make sure you go to follow us on Rumble. It's actually better than YouTube, in my opinion. Because we have more free speech there. You can also look, check it out. When you go to the Rumble and you go to my name and you put gboot2786, you can actually go here. I thought I put the channel up there, but I thought I put the thumbnail in. But look, you can go here. I'm sharing this live stream with y'all. Actually, I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna put it in the chat. Make sure y'all start going there and subscribing, so when I go live, we even have the Random Topics channel, which is where I'm gonna start putting some of my which I thought I could get there, but that's actually, hold on. Oh. So this is a link to the Random Topics channel. So I'm gonna actually start trying to figure out. I gotta post my videos and put on this channel so everybody can look at that. Everything in New Orleans is fine, man. Killer Sai, I'm glad you mentioned the comedy show. Shout out to you. I haven't seen you in a while, man, brother. The comedy show went great. Shout out to you from Nashville. Make sure you're smashing up the likes too, guys. That's the only way we can fight this algorithm. Share. Go to Rumble, though. Go there. I've put the link in the comments. Make sure you just copy and paste. Open up the tab, a new tab, and just go there and just start liking, and also just subscribe. That's the big thing to get the views. But the comedy show and I have pictures I'm gonna upload. Went great. The place where we were at, it was pretty good. The place where we were at was, shout out to Jack's Classic Corner. I got to give a special shout out also to Wayne Ransom, who put the show together. Uh, and shout out to the Neal family, who are from Baton Rouge, because it was his bar, the Jack's Classic Corner. Now, it was a hole in the wall right there up in Baton Rouge. Yeah, that place is a hole in the wall, but they were lit. This is Jack's Classic Corner, actually. I'm going to share this with y'all. But me, Terry Scott, Queen B, who she just ripped it. That's Jack's Classic Corner right there. We had Big C. We also had Peter G, who was the host. Great Sky. Yeah, all the comedians did a phenomenal job. Did a great job. I didn't know how it was gonna be like, but it wasn't empty like this. It was packed. I mean, the whole parking lot was packed. It's a hole in the wall, but they had people blocking everybody in. But it was lit. It was lit. I enjoyed myself. I got some pictures I'm gonna upload and show y'all, but yeah, that show was on fire. Everybody did about 12 minutes, except the feature and the headliner. The headliner did like 45, because Wayne, I think, is trying to do it's going to be doing a special soon. But Big C, he did like 15, a little bit over. Yeah, but it was lit, man. Thank you for asking. I enjoyed myself. There definitely will be more. And I'm going to talk about something, because I'm going to just be brief with that when I talk about this comedy scene. Comedy, I had to mute the music for a second because it's distracting me now. Comedy, especially, I didn't know this business. As I've started to learn, and I've been in it for the last 15 years, is a very, very jealousy-driven, envy-driven industry. And I say that to say there are people who, no matter how good you are, how great you do, how well the crowd reacts to you, will try and keep you from further success, meaning to keep you from getting paid doing their shows, doing this and that, getting featured and getting booked. Comedy is comedy. Whether you're doing it, I was told by, and I'm just going to say this, I'm not going to name this person, but I've been in this business so long enough. I know people who said, they didn't think I was funny. They wouldn't give me stage time, at the main comedy club. I wanted to feature. I asked about doing shows. They put me off. Never hear back from them. I was told by someone recently I wasn't a good fit for their show. And I wasn't as offended by them telling me that I wasn't a fit for their show as much as I found that I thought it was funny. I was offended and found it funny that this person doesn't know a thing about comedy and isn't that funny themselves. But hey, I'm not a fit for them. And I say that to say I found my own thing. The comedian Dolomite, Rudy Ray Moore, had to go. He had to do comedy on the streets. He had to go under. He basically was a grassroots comedian where the people supported him. He was independent. He wasn't sought by mainstream media and so forth until Dolomite started making money, and they realized they could make money off of this man, that they gave him a distribution deal. And then stuff took off for him. And he was in his 40s. So don't ever give up on your dream. That's the message that I have to say to you all. And find your own thing. I'm not 40 yet, but I found a way, obviously, to become successful. I'm doing that. I'm trying my best. And, I'm not going to let other people tell me what I can't do. I never was like that. And, when people said I can't reach for the skies, I try and grab the moon because the sun is too hot. So that's what you got to do. Yeah, I'm gonna put them on Facebook. I put some actually on the YouTube channel, but I didn't go live Sunday, man. I just was worn out and I was tired. But yeah, it was a great show. Now let's put the music back up for a second. I'll put it up a little bit. See if y'all can hear me. I gotta make some new music too for my background. I'm gonna do that. So let's talk about what's going on here with regards to R. Kelly and his case. Now, most of you all know. Oh, as you know, I'm not monetized. Of course, there's the Cash App, PayPal, and Zelle. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. So let's talk about this. R. Kelly is suing to the state of Illinois to get his conviction from 2020 overturned. So I'm not going to play because it is on TMZ. There's an interview that Jennifer Bongine, who is R. Kelly's attorney, she was also Bill Cosby's lawyer on his appeal, which is how she came into the mainstream, how we got to know her at least. She basically stated that she and R. Kelly, they filed a request for a petition for appeal to overturn the conviction, his conviction, citing that R. Kelly's case should have been subjected to the statute of limitations. In other words, they basically, what they did and a few years ago, back in 20 years ago actually, was that there was an act in Illinois that's called the Protect Act that extends the statute of limitations indefinitely for alleged crimes committed after the law went into effect in 2003. But Congress specifically didn't include a clause allowing the law to be applied to alleged conduct committed before 2003. And if you recall, R. Kelly was convicted on 6 of 13 counts back in 2020, 3 for child pornography and 3 for inducement counts. He received a 20-year sentence and was ordered to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to his in damages to his alleged victims. Now, Supreme Court cases take months before there actually is a decision. So they're not even in session yet. It probably will be in the fall before we hear anything. Let me be clear. This is not necessarily, from me, a defense of R. Kelly. But I can tell you there is something in the law, what I've saw with R. Kelly, just like I saw with Bill Cosby, where even in that case in New York, there appeared to have been some overreach by the government. And government officials are supposed to, hold on a second, y'all. All right, I'm sorry about that, y'all. So what's going on with R. Kelly was that, as you know, he had his conviction. He was convicted. He's been serving time in federal prison. I think he's doing time for Illinois and for something and in New York. And I believe all of those cases are still being appealed at this point. What I say with overreach, government officials can't cheat to get a conviction. They can't break the rules. So what R. Kelly has alleged in this lawsuit or in this appeal, it's not really a lawsuit, but an appeal, is that the state of Illinois retroactively punished him for supposed crimes over 20 years ago. They allege that this happened in 2003, 20 years ago. This law is enacted. And within the law, supposedly, what Jennifer Bongine is claiming is that the conduct that supposedly happened in the 90s, The Protect Act didn't pass until 2003. So how could you retroactively punish him? There's something in the law known as the Sixth Amendment that guarantees all defendants a right to a fair and speedy trial. So if their statute of limitations indeed had expired, which it appeared it did at that time, even if they've passed a new law extending it indefinitely, and they've done this all across different states, that would be a violation, certainly, in my opinion, of the Sixth Amendment. Now, I think that this Supreme Court which is very conservative, they've also pushed back on these Me Too allegations that are made against several, against high-profile men. Remember when Bill Cosby's conviction was overturned, the Supreme Court declined to hear any argument from the state of Pennsylvania by that district attorney that he tried to. So, and also you have Brett Kavanaugh, who is a Supreme Court associate justice, who was accused of things. I think he may be inclined to be against this stuff, but let's go ahead. I don't want to play the video. If I play the video, they're going to actually YouTube or TMZ, and I hate TMZ. They automatically just copyright everything you say. They copyright everything. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I have some video from Jennifer Bolgene that I might be able to play R. Kelly. And let's see here. So this is courtesy. Is this coming out of Chicago itself? This video, I had it here. Hold on. So this is his petition, and we're going to play a clip of it. So it's only 20 seconds. So this is what they have here. Fair use, by the way. So just listen carefully. It's very brief.
Attorneys for disgraced Chicago musician R. Kelly have filed a petition to the U.S. Supreme Court
Disgrace.
to review his conviction for federal sex crimes. Kelly was convicted in federal court in Chicago on 3 counts of producing child pornography and 3 counts of enticing a minor for sex. He is serving a 20-year sentence. Kelly was also convicted in New York for sex trafficking and racketeering.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to.
Now, 3 months ago, the Chicago Appeals Court rejected R. Kelly's challenge of 20-year sentence, which was this one. So now he's taking it to the Supreme Court. Yeah. So do y'all think R. Kelly, now you all are not lawyers, but I'm going to ask y'all, how do y'all feel? Do you think R. Kelly should come home? Now, let me be clear. You're not defending, by talking about this, I'm not defending what R. Kelly is alleged to have done. However, I also know as a lawyer, I certainly don't like seeing someone get mistreated or railroaded by our government, because we hold our government officials to a higher standard. So I'm going to ask y'all, start this poll. Do you think R. Kelly do you think R. Kelly's conviction will be overturned? Let's put it like that. And let's see what you have to say. And that's on the G-Boot 27, and that's on the G-Boot 2786 channel. What's going on, Danielle? What's going on? I have heard of Pearl Jam, but I don't know too much about them. So that's that. So the next thing we're going to be talking about tonight, our main topic, as y'all saw from the thumbnail, is that are we obligated as Black men to follow Kamala Harris? Now, a lot's been going on in the world ever since Kamala Harris stated she was running for Supreme Court for President of the United States, and in part because Joe Biden was forced out. I don't think he stepped down voluntarily. I think he was being forced out. According to even the reports, they say He was convinced to step down by the higher ups, including Barack Obama, who wrote and said he didn't think Biden had a chance to beat Trump. Everything he put in place is beat Trump, beat Trump, beat Trump. Then also you have the Olympics, the Gay Olympics. Y'all all saw the video, I'm sure, of this. The opening ceremony. And somebody, I won't get a copyright strike. They actually have women fighting in the and men fighting in the Olympics. Am I looking at it correctly? Is this the Olympics? I don't even think this can't be the Olympics. No, that's not the Olympics. I don't think this is, because it doesn't even have the logo on it. This video, I'm careful about what I say. Yeah, this isn't it, but how many of y'all saw this crit? How many of y'all saw this? I gotta briefly talk about this opening ceremony. I look carefully. Now, what they were doing, this is supposed to be the Feast of Dionysus, who is Dionysus in Greek was the god of, and it's a drag performance, but he was a Greek god. Now, people have condemned it because it looks like it's representing. Everybody thought it was a reference to the Last Supper, although the artistic director, Thomas Jolly, insisted it was a nod to a pagan celebration. Dionysus, who was the god of wine, was also the god of revelry and fertility. And they said it wasn't religious based in any way. I still say it sucked. And the worst part about it, what was bad about this, let me get this off, is if you look right here and you zoomed in, somebody zoomed in, one of the guys, the performers, the drags, their nuts are showing. I'm gonna get this off my screen. Yeah, one of them was, their baguettes was out. They didn't say nothing about that, though. Now, the Olympic Committee issued an apology. They issued an apology for that, but that was too freaking much. I honestly I've been following the Olympics, but I haven't been watching it all, like talking about it since then. They insisted that it wasn't a mocking of Christianity, but they did issue an apology. But it looks like to me, certainly there was certainly it was, to me, it came off as satanic. Just the way that the stuff they were doing, and maybe they can claim that it wasn't the Last Supper or anything like that. They did issue an apology to it, but the bottom line is, did you think it was appropriate, even not tripping on even not tripping on it being like the Last Supper? Did you think, was it appropriate for them to have drag queens out there, and then one of the guys having their private part showing on live television. It sucked. Plain and simple. And what made this worse, if you looked carefully, there was a child that was present. There was a child present. Look at this. I'm careful what I'm showing. I don't want a copyright strike, but there's a kid right here. And this is the drag queen behind her who had their privates out. Kids are right there. People are watching this and they tune in to see this. Yeah, and they even had this thing. So that's the comparison to that. I don't necessarily think, even so, if it's not the same as the Last Supper, I still think it was bad and poor taste. Let's just put it that way. And certainly, they shouldn't have had it like that. They shouldn't have had that. Smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Yeah, that's just some plain sick bullshit right there. So let's get into it. Let me get back into it. So are black men obligated? I have to talk about that briefly before I got. Black men are obligated to defend Kamala Harris. So y'all know what's going on. She's running for president of the United States. She got the nomination, and I want y'all to keep in mind something. Kamala Harris getting that nomination for presidency back in 2020, she finished 5th in overall voting in her home state, even in California. She didn't even make it to 1st. She didn't get the nomination. She dropped out of the race. And in 2020, to secure the black vote, Joe Biden had to select a black woman to run as his vice president. People were calling for this. Back in 2020, there were calls from, I think, the Root and the Griot and others, forcing Joe, you need to pick a black woman, you need to have a black woman on the Supreme Court. And there were several that they were looking at. I think Keisha Lance Bottoms was even considered. But in the end, he picked Kamala Harris. Now, she's been vice president for the last 4 years. Yeah, Kamala Harris couldn't even finish the primaries. And so they want us to blindly support Kamala Harris. And by us, I'm talking about those, Pete Buttigieg in California. So this is the California primary. Yeah, she couldn't even make it in California in the Democratic presidential primaries, if you doubt what I'm saying. And I got to put this and show this because I got niggas, these Negroes I was arguing in the barbershop with, who were questioning me. And I mean, just blindly supporting Kamala Harris. Bernie Sanders finished with more delegates in California than Joe Biden did in 2020. Kamala had to drop out. And this is her home state. Okay? Elizabeth Warren, Michael Bloomberg. Tulsi Gabbard exposed Kamala Harris. And so Tulsi Gabbard, of course, now I have my issues with her, but she's an Army Reserve officer. She's a lieutenant colonel in the Army. She actually was a Democrat for over 20 years, but she switched to being an independent now. But of course, she leans a little bit now, I think, in the middle or to the right. Now, there are people, namely, I'm going to show you in a second one, who are going to be in, especially now that Kamala Harris is likely to be the presumptive nominee for president, and I believe she's going to get it. There are people who are essentially saying black men shouldn't be supporting her regardless of her policy, regardless of how she looks, regardless of anything. And one of those people happens to be Isaac Hayes III. Now, Isaac Hayes is the son of the legend Isaac Hayes, the legendary Isaac Hayes, Black Moses. And he wrote this a few days ago, and he got called out by a couple of people. And I had to comment on this, but he wrote this. He says, FYI to black men, black women are watching you try and tear down an overqualified black woman for trying to fulfill her purpose, break barriers, and accomplish her dreams. Your mothers, grandmothers, sisters, wives, and daughters would be ashamed seeing you act like this. You look small and insecure and weak doing so. I wonder if Brother Isaac dropped him on his head a few times while he was trying to play some music. You know, had him in one hand and was playing keyboard on the other. Now, Isaac Hayes III is actually a producer. He's a founder and CEO of this thing called Fan Base app. I don't know too much about it, but let's just say he's a man who actually invested in a lot of money. I think he's done well for himself. And of course, his name means something because we all love, especially black people, we all love Black Moses. We all loved and respected Isaac Hayes. I agree with that. And you have someone, though, like Isaac Hayes, who's using his platform. He has over 36,000 followers. I believe he was also has his own radio show at one time on Sirius XM, excuse me. And he was going back and forth with some people. Lord Jamar called him out, Tariq Nasheed. And he writes this, and Lord Jamar commented, he said, I respectfully disagree. What makes her overqualified? She's not a black woman, so let's not act like she's the same as our mothers, wives, sisters, and daughters. She stated publicly she will not do anything specifically for black people. Trying to shame black men ain't it, bro? So you tell me what, and this is his response, what qualifications are to be president of the United States? Also, is she more qualified than Donald Trump? Also, you did not watch the entire video, which means you've been fooled by propaganda. And this brother responds, he says, well, I can tell you one thing, Isaac Hayes III, is people like you that not only have the resources, but the opportunity to help push legislation, but you rather cater to these non-Black American people. That's why we don't take you or your platform serious. Amen. What you got to realize is that she is these guys like Isaac Hayes III, D.L. Hughley. I'm going to say this about D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, Ricky Smiley. I'm going to go back even in the day. Tom Joyner, Michael Baisden. I'm going to just say it. All of them were stooges for the Democratic Party. Roly Poly, of course, we know is the biggest one. He's the Democratic Corps. Beep, beep, beep. If y'all damn fools, y'all simple Simons don't vote, beep, 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 you ain't getting beep, 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 nothing. What makes her overqualified? She's done nothing. She's identified as an Indian woman. First off, so she's not a Black woman. I had to argue with people about that. Her father, I just showed you, if you look at her birth certificate, she was born in America now, and she grew up in Oakland. Now, she was born in America, in Oakland, at that hospital. But her own father listed the in Alameda County. I've never debated or questioned that she's not an American. So let's just get that out the way. But her coroner, so this is what, why is he doing this to me? This is the birth certificate. Here. Hold on. I've never questioned the fact that she wasn't born in America. So yes, she can run for office, no doubt. Michael Baisden is on Facebook. And you look clearly, let's look at the facts. Now, this is the birth certificate. 64. Now, they weren't calling Black people African Americans. That was a term that didn't come up until Jesse Jackson started using that term. You were called Negro. Like if you look at my mom's birth certificate, my mom was born in I shouldn't say. Sorry, Mom. Let's just put it this way. Her birth certificate said Negro. So did my father's. I think mine says Black. In the 80s, yeah, you said Black. But you look at the birth certificate here clearly. It says Caucasian for color or race of the mother. Birthplace, India. Mom was 26. Donald Harris, the father. Donald Jasper Harris, who's an economist. He's a student and teaching fellow. Her mother had no occupation, it looks like. This is the University of California. So she was born October 20th, 1964. The father is listed, his color of race, as Jamaican, not Negro. Now, he could have melanin in his skin. Yeah, or you said colored, Negro. Colored, you're right. I'm sorry. Thank you, Garrett, for checking me. It did say colored. Not Black American. So, not Negro, or not colored here. So, where do we get off Isaac Hayes III calling us a Black woman? Now, Isaac Hayes III is not alone in this. Jamaica is a country, but they say color or race of the father on the birth certificate as Jamaican. They listed her mother as Caucasian. That's correct. Now, If you know, a lot of Hispanics today, when they get the census, they identify as Caucasian. They will say white. That happens. If you notice, especially now, if you look at some of your census questions, they'll say white Hispanic, Latino, are you a white Hispanic as an extricate? Yeah. Of course he did. Michael Baisden, and Michael Baisden, he did some good things. Yeah, I know he did stuff with the Gina 6. You know, he was involved with that. I'm gonna give him his due. I like the fact that he was actually he was a train operator, I think, in Chicago, and at the same time was writing his books. But yeah, those guys now are shills for the Democrats. Michael Imhotep is a big one too. I used to rock with Imhotep until recently, when he started criticizing black people for asking for tangibles. Same thing with, I haven't seen him in a while, but Michael Eric Dyson. I used to love Michael Eric Dyson until I saw him attacking Bill Cosby, going in supporting that lynch mob. When he supported Gayle King after she came at Kobe Bryant, I couldn't believe that. But as this is moving forward, there are a lot of Negroes that we're going to see, like, black men, and I'm talking about black men in particular. No disrespect to our black ladies. You're going to see the black community in a civil war for these next few months, and probably beyond that. We're in war now. There's a war. There's war here. War is here, because now that she has been declared. Well, she hasn't been declared the nominee. She's the presumptive nominee. And there are some black women, I must acknowledge, that aren't even rocking with her, with Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris. They're not sold on her. They don't care for her, even though they force feed her. And the hype train is stopping, because I heard she did a rally earlier today. I saw Meg Thee Stallion is supporting her. Judge Joe Brown even talked about a rally that was going on. Supposedly, at one of these rallies, she only did like 80. She had like 86 people, a very low turnout. Last year, I remember she came to Essence Fest, and they actually had people booing her. And, you know, they got the Divine Nine. Look at this article. This is from Politico. So they've been trying to sanitize her record as a California prosecutor. I'm going to get to that in a minute. And I'm going to play this video from MSNBC News. But they got the Divine. Look at this. Harris hits Atlanta with Divine Nine on her side. The Divine Nine is rallying around one of its own. How white dudes are organizing for Harris. Eric Adams has new competition for New York City. So the Divine Nine is the fraternities, basically all the black Greek fraternities from Alpha Phi Alpha to Omega Psi Phi. The fraternities are males. The sororities are the females. Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi. You also have the Iotas, the Phi Beta Sigmas. Am I missing some other people? And of course, the sororities, the Cutie Pies, the Zetas, the AKAs, which Kamala Harris happens to be. I mean, look, Coretta Scott King was an AKA. The Delta Sigma Thetas, that was Aretha Franklin, and I think Natalie Cole's sorority. I'm trying to think of the other, and I saw so many of them, but that's the Divine Nine organizations that met with Kamala Harris back in 2021. So they trying to rally behind her. Yeah, Stacey Abrams of Delta Sigma Theta. We saw how helpful was that for her gubernatorial race. The Boule, that's them. No, nothing. It's always, just imagine. See, here's my problem with the Isaac Hayes, the D.L. Hughley's, and others who are attacking black, who and others who are trying to push for Kamala Harris. Imagine, because you all, I take it, are businessmen. D.L. Hughley has a radio program. Isaac Hayes has his company. Roland Martin has his thing. But just imagine this. You are a business owner. If you were hiring a person, this is like this. If I'm hiring a person for my company, let's say I'm hiring a secretary, just for sake of argument and time's sake. Let's just use that as an example. And I have one candidate for secretary who is an obnoxious loudmouth, talks a big game, walks in the office of the meeting with his hand on his privates, walking in there talking shit. Now, that's bad. But then I get another candidate, another potential employee I'm interviewee, that I'm interviewing for this job, and imagine the only thing he tells me is that I'm better than this guy. And if I ask you, how are you better? And I ask you what specifically you can bring to the table, you can't say anything, what you bring, but you could just say it's going to be better than what he is. Do you think I should go along with that? I'm going to hire you just off the cup by you making some snide remark like that? Well, I'm better than him. You might be better than them. Let's say that you are. I'll give you that. You've been in politics. I'll say this. Kamala Harris has been in politics longer than Donald Trump. So, yeah, she has more experience in politics. Yeah, I agree with that. But Trump was president for 4 years. So he has some experience in how the office works now. And I think the biggest problem we all face, especially with politics too, well, let me hold that thought. But what are you going to bring to the table? What are you bringing to me? And if all you're saying is, I'm going to do this and that, if all you're saying is, I'm not Trump, I'm not this person, then you're not telling me you're not doing shit, essentially. But I'm supposed to give blind enthusiasm, blind support, not ask you anything just because you have a hue that's a little darker than me. That's not how life works. Yes, I like supporting my black people. Yes, I want us all to succeed. Yes, I do want to see us in positions. But I also want to see that black person better be competent too. Dr. King, when he was pushing for black people to get things, when we had affirmative action was in place, and Lyndon Johnson, I would say this, and Lyndon Johnson was a racist, but Lyndon Johnson gave tangibles. The direct purpose of affirmative action was to remedy past discrimination against the Negro and to give us equal footing. That was its purpose. And of course, it's been watered down now because other groups came in and started to take from it. Now, that's a fact too. But I'm not going to sit up here blindly and give blind support to Kamala Harris, no matter how many times you point your finger in my face. And frankly, you point it again, I might just bite it off. Black people are going to honestly think, and yes, Kamala Harris might have a chance at winning this, but I honestly think black men, a lot of black men are going to show up for Donald Trump. I think a lot of people, white women, like they did in 2016 when Hillary ran and Hillary got the popular vote. I don't see Kamala getting the popular vote. I don't necessarily see her get the electoral because she's going to have a hard time getting Texas. You're going to have a hard time getting, you damn sure not going to get Florida. You can get California, but Ohio and Wisconsin, I look at Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's been traditionally Democrat, but Pennsylvania is blue collar. Louisiana is actually a Democratic state, but it's blue dog Democrat. They're conservative. We're liberal on some issues, but conservative on some social issues. But I want y'all to see this video. So this is for this. So now the mainstream media is seeing this war. This is the point I'm talking about. They're seeing what's going on, and this is what I'm talking about when civil war is starting. So I want to play this fair use. So I'm gonna pause and play it.
And voters will be critical in the race to the White House.
His hair.
I liked RFK.
Justin Samuels and Dorian Griffin are both 32-year-old small business owners. Samuels is an independent.
How has Vice President Harris being the top of the ticket impacted the way that you see this election?
Her being the top of the ticket really made me think about creating another historic moment, not just for the country, but for also the Black community as a whole too. I think there's a lot that she has to prove. There are a lot of men in this country who need to be okay with a woman leading the country.
Griffin is a Republican. He says he's still voting for Trump.
And tell me what appeals to you about Trump.
His business acumen. When Donald Trump was president, we were all doing a lot better financially. He's always been a business icon. So why wouldn't we want that business icon to be president?
And he had this to say about Harris.
I think she hasn't done anything worth mentioning.
What would you have wanted to see Vice President Harris accomplish that she has not?
I would have liked her to kind of bring a calm to the border. The border crisis has gotten out of hand.
In 2020, President Biden...
She was the border czar, and, they make excuses about that. Oh, she's not in charge. Oh, she wasn't supposed to do that. No, they did. She agreed to do it. And when she got called out about it, she started laughing. They criticized her. They said, no, I'm not the border czar. Well, whether she is or not, she had a responsibility to say hello. Role was limited. Even the Boston Globe. This article. Well, I hate when I get these. They said Harris bungled immigration. I got to pause, but you see they have two different black men. One is an independent, one who's voting for Trump.
Nearly flipped Georgia blue, winning just under 12,000 votes. Democrat Darius Rollins says he's excited for Harris.
I've never seen enthusiasm like this fast.
And you had concerns about Vice President Harris's background as a prosecutor. What got you over them?
When I started doing the research, when you see those type of things that aren't often talked about, that resonates with me.
And now all three men are waiting for November's election results. Yamiche Alcindor, NBC News, Atlanta.
So what you had is three men, a brother from Atlanta, two from Philadelphia, who said he was excited. Let's just be real. He was going to vote for, I can tell that brother was just going to vote for Joe Biden regardless. And he could have picked Keisha, as Jason Black says, Keisha Bottom B as the vice president. He was going to vote. So I researched Kamala Harris's record. Hold on, guys. I got to take a little quick break. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
I'm back. So we were talking about Ms. Harris, her record is prosperous. Why the brother voted for her. Now, I told y'all I was going to play a video again, which I showed you the video earlier about Bishop Woodley and Kamala Harris, and he's saying how they were being attacked. But before I get to that, I'm going to play that in a little bit again. But as we were talking earlier, more than likely that brother was going to be voting for Kamala Harris for Joe Biden anyway. Why? Because he's Democrat. Now, I told y'all before, people, especially black people, we don't do our own research. We vote lazily when it comes to these elections because we look at, she's the first black woman, she's the first black president. Michelle looks nice in the dress. That's all they think about. That's all people think about. I'm being real. They don't care about facts. They don't care about results. They care about image. And that's what wins and drives these elections, especially with black folks. We don't ever act and hold policy together. We're voting based off what a person looks like. We go back to the 1960s and 70s. You had before, let me go further back. Go back to the 1800s when you had black politicians. You had, after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, you had an influx of black legislators that were elected. P.B.S. Pinchback became the first black governor. He was lieutenant governor at one time. The first black lieutenant governor was P.B.S. Pinchback actually ran for senator. We've always had blacks in the legislature in the 1800s. Now, yes, we've had the right to vote since the 15th Amendment. And yes, after Reconstruction ended, there were laws put in place like the poll tax and Jim Crow that was done to keep black men from voting. Oscar Dunn was the first black lieutenant governor. But they've always had blacks in the legislature during the period of Reconstruction. The freedmen. Here's the portrait. Hold on. These are the African American delegates to the Louisiana Constitutional Convention in 1868 during Reconstruction. The freedmen. People were then were released from slavery. It ended because of Rutherford's behavior. That's how Reconstruction ended. But you've had black legislators. Department of Justice was created during the period of Reconstruction to prosecute the Klan. Ulysses Grant. So we talk about presidents that have, you can say, that gave tangibles. You can say Grant was one of those. I give him a little credit. I give him some credit. The African American office holders. They've always been black legislators. Why do we get caught up on this symbolism bullshit? I'm not saying that symbolism isn't important. Yes, it is. But it should not be the only thing. Voting should not be the only thing. It is not the end all and be all of your salvation. Never has. No other group thinks that way. Whites don't go and vote. Like talking about it, yeah, they voted, excuse me. But they don't just go vote, they write a check.
So do Asians. They have the lowest voting turnout. But they support themselves. They send their money back to Vietnam and Thailand and Korea because they got their shop set right in your home, right in your neighborhood. So for the people that are challenging me talking about her record, the California progressives, even in 2020, which is a very progressive state, Kamala Harris wasn't even in consideration of the nomination for president. She had to drop out. I've already seen the 2020, they had the receipt. And yeah, D.L. Hughley actually follows me on Twitter and on Facebook. But I'll say this, I think he's wrong at the way he's been going about this. He actually said back then that she wasn't a great candidate, that she fizzled out. I'm going to show you the tweet. So Brother Dwan B even did a show on DL about this, but yeah, he put this out. He says Kamala Harris flames out black people didn't trust her and they were wise not to. This was in 2020, but now it's my understanding he even apologized. He had a video where he actually apologized to her for saying this. So, or talking about her. But if we let's look at Kamala Harris's agenda. Now, this is from Vox. Let's look at her record, because people have criticized. I've had people question me on it. I did my research too. Everybody likes to say, go do your research. Okay, here's the receipts. So they state here, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Now, this is from 2020. They had some, of course, they're saying how Harris has become the nominee for vice president with Joe Biden. But Harris has also faced questions of her record on criminal justice issues, a record that led some critics to describe her not as a progressive reformer, but as a relic of a tough on crime era going back to the 1990s and 2000s. So a generation after Democrats embraced tough on crime policies that swell prison populations, progressive activists are pushing to make the criminal justice system less punitive and racist, and polls show a majority of Democrats support such efforts. Harris has argued that her views align with a new progressive movement, but her record in California, where she was a prosecutor, district attorney, and state AG before representing the state in the United States Senate, has come under harsh scrutiny and debate since she launched her own presidential campaign in 2019. Now, when she became a senator, I actually supported her in 2012. Now, they said here, for instance, Laura Bizdel of more conservative law and order types. She gave it all the way. They say Kamala Harris has spent her career fighting for reforms in the criminal justice system and pushing the envelope to keep everyone safer by bringing fairness and accountability. This is Lily Adams, a spokesperson for Harris at that time. But a close examination of Harris's record shows it's filled with contradictions. She pushed for programs that help people find jobs instead of putting them in prison, but also fought to keep people in prison even after they were proved innocent. She refused to pursue the death penalty against the man who killed the police officer, but also defended California's death penalty system in court. She implemented training programs to address police officers' racial bias, but also resisted calls to get her office to investigate certain police shootings. So they said that, so in these cases where you found someone innocent, as a prosecutor, and this is where I draw the line, because I'm in this field, I'm an attorney. I've worked as a public defender for the last 3 years. Prosecutors have a duty. Hear me out. They have a duty that if a person is innocent and they had evidence to turn that over and they know about it, they have a duty, whether it looks bad on their record as far as the number of convictions they get or not. As officers of the court, they have a duty to pursue justice. This is rules we follow. They have a duty to do this. So if you hold someone in jail knowing that they were innocent longer, so you can get the state of California more prison, more free labor, I'm sorry, that makes you evil. I don't like that. That is evil. Now she can say she's wants reforms, and that's fine. But as a woman who supposedly is sister girl, you're AKA, you went to Howard University, your father's Jamaican, your mom's Indian, you claim to be a black woman. If you knew black, especially a lot of people who look like you, that you say were in jail wrongfully convicted, why didn't you help? Why did you keep them in there longer? And you were ordered by the court to release them. This is documented. People can call me out all they want. People can say they think I'm crazy, I'm not doing my research. Do your research and come. You say I don't do the research. The records speaks for itself. The record is there. It's a Google search. She wrote 2 books of her time as a prosecutor, Smart on Crime, A Career Prosecutor's Plan to Make Us Safer. And that was at the time she was DA, near the end of her district attorney. She also wrote The Truth We Hold, An American Journey, which was her memoir. And she called herself a progressive prosecutor. And she embraced the Black Lives Matter movement. But her record doesn't say that. Your actions speak louder than words. The biggest problem that I have, and outside of that aspect of it, now they say she allowed first-time drug offenders to get high school diplomas and a job instead of prison time. But she was charging people, especially black men, for simple marijuana possession. She was known to be strict on, very strict. Goes on the Breakfast Club. It's about how she smoked weed, listening to Tupac and Snoop. Now, in this Vox article, they defend her, saying she was an outliner within the California DA's Association and got some pushback and criticism. When she became a DA, no one was talking about progressive prosecutors. the stuff she did with the truancy program, yeah, arresting the kids, the parents, when the kids skipped school. And she later said she actually, and Tariq Nasheed had this on his YouTube, on his X page. He even showed the articles from that. But the biggest thing I have when she was at AG is what I learned from the brother Rashad Humphrey. Shout out to her, shout out to him. He lived out in California. And there's a bank known as West One Financial. West One Financial was the bank in California that was putting out these predatory lendings, these predatory loans and mortgages against Black and brown families in the early mid 2000s. And when they had the recession, remember where they were foreclosing on all these homes, these predatory loans? Kamala Harris had an opportunity to prosecute Steve Mnuchin. Now, Mnuchin became under Donald Trump. He was Steve. I might be saying his name wrong. Is it Steve Mnuchin? Mnuchin. He was a Treasury Secretary. Mnuchin, but he was the president of One West Bank. He was also a member of Goldman Sachs, which was an investment bank, Wall Street. She didn't prosecute as AG. She fought to release fewer prisoners even after the Supreme Court found that there was overcrowding in California prisons was so bad it amounted to unconstitutional, cruel, and unusual punishment. Yeah. So I'm going to look at this. So I'm giving you receipts. That's the Vox article. You can read for yourself. My brother, Dwan B., I'm going to ask him if he can send some other articles on her that he did, because he did an article on the San Francisco Gate just to go from the San Francisco Gate. I can't find them. I don't know if they've scrubbed it to protect her image, but this is the article on Steve Mnuchin here at One West Bank. You can read. I'm going to put it right here. But this is the biggest thing I have. So as the California Attorney General, Mnuchin's One West Bank, she declined to prosecute Mnuchin's One West Bank for foreclosure violations. Now, he was Trump's nominee in 2000 to serve and run the Treasury. So here's what they have. There was an internal memo published on Tuesday by The Intercept. Prosecutors at the California's Attorney General's office said they had found over 1,000 violations of foreclosure laws by his bank. Don't think this is just a federal issue. This was a state issue. So he violated laws according to this memo, an internal memo, and they uncovered many, and they would uncover many thousand more. But Harris's office declined to file a civil enforcement action against the bank. Harris's statement on Tuesday does not explain how involved she was with the decision to not prosecute or why the decision was made. She also would not say whether the revelations would disqualify Mnuchin from the position of Treasury Secretary. The hearings will reveal if it's disqualifying or not, but certainly he has a history that should be critically examined, as do all the nominees. These are for, she said she was going to review all of Trump's cabinet nominees. And the Senate Democrats vowed to put a fight over Mnuchin, even creating a website inviting homeowners to list their complaints against One West. So he refused to. Mnuchin, by the way, declined to answer a detailed list of questions from Finance Committee member Sherrod Brown, which Brown sent before the release of the leaked memo. After the Intercept story was published, Mnuchin spokesperson Barney Keller called it meritless and highlighted One West's completion of a foreclosure review with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which involved completely separate issues from the California inquiry, what he claimed was One West issuance of over 100,000 loan modifications to borrowers. Meanwhile, the Alliance of California for Community Empowerment, which is an organization that made headlines in 2010 by protesting Mnuchin on his front lawn over One West foreclosure practices, expressed disbelief how he could become the Treasury Secretary. My family lived firsthand the fraud and unethical behavior under his leadership when I was told to default before they could help me, and was instead pushed into foreclosure, said Peggy Mears, a One West victim. ACE plans to ask incoming California Attorney General Xavier Becerra to take up the prosecution of One West Bank on the newly released evidence, and the group vowed to fight the Mnuchin nomination. No one oversaw the defrauding of thousands of homeowners should be allowed to serve and watch over our country's money, Mears said. I agree with that. So she never explained why she didn't prosecute One West Bank. And this is what Judge Joe Brown was talking about. So here's another way. When you say, where's my research? Here it is. Now, this is it here. But y'all don't think I'm doing my research. I'm not doing my research. Does it look like I haven't done my research? Regardless, and look, you don't have to. I'm not here to encourage people to vote. You vote for how you want to vote for either candidate. You're going to vote and do what you want. But I'm telling you, you shouldn't rely on this as your Lord and Savior, because that's not voting. That has done nothing for us in the last 165 years that we've been able to even vote at that. But guys, what do you think? I'm going to get ready to wrap this thing up, y'all. But yeah, the information is there. Do your you say do your research. I did it. The research is there, and it's not much. It's look on your phone. Now you can pull that, and that's another thing. I gotta question your. There was even a book that criticized her record as AG, written by Aaron Glantz, and it mentions the situation with Steve Mnuchin's One West Bank. It's called Home Records: How a Gang of Wall Street Kingpins, Hedge Fund Magnates, Crooked Banks, and Vulture Capitalists suckered millions out of their homes and demolished the American dream. She could have helped a lot of people if she wanted to, but didn't. And so the question we have to ask ourselves is, why didn't Senator or AG Kamala Harris at that time didn't even open an investigation? She said, through the bank. She didn't do it. She didn't do it. Now people are gonna still believe and vote for they want to, fine. But hey, the information is there. And if you choose to ignore that, knowing the information that you know, then that says something about you. But guys, what do y'all think? Are we obligated as black men to support Kamala Harris? No. I say no. We're obligated to support and defend our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, absolutely. But we are not obligated to defend an enemy. No matter no matter how they look like. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Please drop something in the Cash App, Zelle, or PayPal. Give something to the channel if you can. If you love me for my time, pay me for my time. Get the songs on iTunes. Be My Baby for Christmas. Of course, it is Christmas in July while we got these last couple of days. Get the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. Oh, let's look at the results of our poll. 20 votes in. 55% of you think R. Kelly's conviction will be overturned. 45% say no. So that's a very tight race, 55 to 45. So basically, by a difference of 3. Well, out of 20 votes. So that means majority wins that you think R. Kelly will be coming home. I don't know if he's going to come home because he's got the New York case, but he definitely that's 11 people. So yeah, at least none of you say no. I'm gonna end the poll like that. But yeah, guys, it's been great. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll be back Thursday. Hopefully Sean will be back. Shout out to Daniel Meyer. Shout out to Killer Side, Kevin Witterburn, One Who Cares. It's good to see y'all, all right? Derek Bailey, I haven't seen you in a while. Computer Robots. Make sure, guys, you are going to Rumble. Make sure you're going to Rumble. Subscribe to Rumble, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to actually, so you all can go to my Rumble page. Make sure you like. It's in the chat for this video, okay? All right. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. Shout out to you, Andrew.